Hey, what's up, guys? This is the Indie Kid coming at you. This is another edition of the day after. It's been a while since I brought one of these to you since the last game against Texas A&M, so just want to kind of bring another day after to you after we've all had a day to kind of stew on and get our thoughts about the hire of Josh Heupel. But before I get into any of that, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit subscribe, and be on the lookout for Talkin VAWLS football editions. I'm sure we will have some going forward. Nothing set in stone right now, and be sure you check out JP and Dauber with the basketball post-game shows as well each week. But let's get right into it. Tennessee hires Josh Heupel as its 27th head coach in program history, coming off of obviously an interesting 3 years on Rocky Top for Jeremy Pruitt, and Jeremy Pruitt's off to the NFL now. Now we got Josh Heupel, and when I saw the hire, my opinion has not changed much on it over the days. I think considering the circumstances where Tennessee's at, I feel like they basically self-reported themselves, and I've seen people say that they basically did this to get out of a buyout, and I don't disagree with that notion. There's a part of me, I think the truth lies somewhere in between. I think they've seen an opportunity to get out of the buyout, and they're using it. Now, I think that, you're getting lawyers involved, that there's going to end up, Pruitt will get some buyout out of this. I really believe that he will, but I don't think he'll get the full buyout. But anyhow, Josh Heupel, new head coach at Tennessee. I'm curious to see what he does here, and there's mixed reactions. I know when we did the show last night, actually it was pretty positive, and I was surprised. I thought there would be a lot more negativity with it, and I don't blame anybody for being skeptical. I am too. I'm kind of at this point with any coach. I was like this with Pruitt. I'm going to be like this with Josh Heupel as well. I want to see results. I want you to prove it to me, what you're actually doing, that you're actually going to get the job done. And I think a lot of this fan base is there, and how can you blame them after the last, 12 years now? Really going back to after Fulmer was let go, and then you had, of course, we go over it all the time, but yeah, it's a prove me state. Are there concerns there? Sure, absolutely. Anytime you've got somebody stepping up, you're going to have concerns about them. And the thing with Heupel, he has been a coordinator in SEC. His offense has worked in the SEC as well. When he was at Missouri for a couple years, he had, if I'm not mistaken, he had a top-ranked offense in the conference and a strong offense nationally as well, nationwide. And so that's encouraging. Offenses have been top 10 every year at Central Florida. The one knack I've heard, and I don't know the reason behind this. Supposedly Central Florida fans are acting like they're happy to get rid of him. I don't understand that, maybe because of their 2017 national championship that they won. You can only go down from there when you go undefeated. So he went 12-1, he went 10-3, he went 6-4. The 6-4 could be something to be concerned about. But if you look at the circumstances, they did have a ton of opt-outs. And they had, I think, 4 more players get removed mid-season. And then their 4 losses were to good teams. That they lost to Pitt, Cincinnati, was it Memphis or Tulsa? I can't remember that. I should know that better than that. But I know in the bowl game they lost to BYU as well. But 3 of the losses were close. And then I think BYU handled them pretty well. But one year, especially in the COVID year, when you have that many opt-outs and stuff, I don't think you can really get that upset about it. And I know, some said, well, you couldn't judge Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt didn't have a ton of opt-outs this year. Jeremy Pruitt just did an awful job of coaching. I think there were a couple of opt-outs, but it wasn't anybody that was going to make a big difference this year. That's not a fair comparison if you're going to go down that road with it right there, because of the number of opt-outs there. But, is this a trend with Heupel, or was it just, was this the exception rather than the norm? I look at a guy who lost 1 game in 3 games opposed to 4 right there. So I'm going to choose to believe that, and you know, maybe it's just bias right here, that this was just obviously not a normal year under normal circumstances. And, you know, if he were losing to teams bad teams, I might be a little more alarmed by it. But he lost to good teams this year on their schedule, teams that are tough in that conference. And then, of course, you get Pitt, who's an ACC team, who's a decent program as well, right there. And we'll get to find that out next year as he'll gets to play Pitt in Game 2 next year in Knoxville. So that'll be interesting to see as well. But the main thing with Josh Heupel, I think he's going to bring offense to Knoxville. Now, is he going to be able to score points on Florida, Georgia, Alabama? That remains to be seen. That's going to be the big key. That's where his success is going to come, and that's where you're judged in Knoxville. Year 2, Jeremy Pruitt beat everybody, all the other conference teams on the schedule. He did not beat those teams. Wasn't even competitive with those teams. And, you know, we're not even talking about Georgia State or BYU right there. We're just talking about the main 3 that you're judged on. Tennessee, it's Florida, Georgia, Alabama. So we'll see. That's where Josh Heupel is going to make his name at in Knoxville. Now, could he come in and win the rest of the games, win 8 or 9 games per year and be all right? Absolutely. I think right now that would be a good start. You've got to start somewhere. You've got to start from scratch. You've got to start winning the games you should win. And we'll see how he does next year. And a lot of stuff's going to be interesting. Does any more players leave, as we have had some good players leave? You know, there's still spots left in this recruiting class. Or they go bring in transfer. They could bring in some high-impact transfers as well. You never know. And I'm curious to see Hendon Hooker. And obviously, it seems like Harrison Bailey and Caden Salter are all in as well. And I think even Brian Maurer may be recruited. But somebody's going to have to leave at some point. And so we'll see. But, you know, I think there's potential. And the main thing it's going to be in his hirings. You know, he's going to have a good defensive coordinator, and he's going to have some recruiters on staff. No doubt about it. I don't know who he's bringing. The only names I've seen mentioned so far is Cody Burns, who was receivers coach at Auburn. He was going to be hired at Central Florida, but I don't know that he ever started there. So be curious to see if maybe he brings him with him to Tennessee. And then the other name I think I saw mentioned was Corey Bell, defensive backs coach, or a defensive coach at Central Florida, because I know Willie Martinez was on staff there as well. Be curious to see if he maybe brings Willie up in some capacity as well right there. I don't know, but I do expect that. I don't know what's going to happen with Kevin Steele. I've kind of seen mixed stuff on it. My guess is he probably will not be in Knoxville next year, but obviously that's not been decided at this point. I don't know that any other coaches will be kept. I think it'll be, and I think based on, you know, just the negativity, the violations, everything, the part of me thinks if you were there next year, it's time to start from scratch. Now, are there some guys I wouldn't mind to see stay? Absolutely. But Jay Graham's heading to Alabama, it looks like. And I just don't know anybody else. Maybe T. I mean, we've all got a fondness for T, but I'm not so sure if it's not best for him to go on as well. I wouldn't be opposed to him staying, obviously. But the rest of them, it's time to start over right here. So now, who does he bring? You got to think he's going to bring some Central Florida coaches with him. And, you know, it's not going to matter where they come from. The bottom line is that they come to Knoxville and they get the job done, whether it's coaching and or recruiting. They're first and foremost, you got to be able to coach, because you know part of the problem this year is recruiters were hired and they couldn't coach, and that's a problem. And you know, recruiting will take care of itself. Most coaches have come in recruited well at Tennessee. The key is going to be winning. You start winning some games, you're going to get the recruits, and I think right now you're going to have that freshness on your side to where you should be able to go out and recruit pretty well for 2022. I think this 2021 class is pretty well wrapped up as far as incoming high school or JUCO guys. I think the rest of the class will be safe for transfers, or maybe even if they can roll them over somehow right there. But you know, the one-time transfer exception still hasn't been approved yet. I would think that it will, but I don't know when. It is NCAA we're talking about here, so it's a fine line. But again, I understand being skeptical about this. I get it, and I'm in a prove me state with it as well. But I think it's got potential, guys. I really do. And now, am I sitting here telling you Josh Heupel's going to start winning this national titles or anything? I mean, obviously that'd be great, but we've got to start just by getting the program back on solid footing, as it's obviously buried right now. It is in probably the roughest shape of my lifetime right now, and all of ours. Maybe some of you guys have seen, some of you guys that's older than I am have seen darker days possibly, but this is definitely the lowest I've seen, and I hope this is as low as it will go. But I do think there's potential. I think there's going to be some excitement with the offense, and I can't wait to see what spring practice looks like. Hopefully, we get to have a spring practice this year, as obviously that got cut short last year. So hopefully they are able to do that this year. I don't know that if it'll be like a traditional one or not, but that'll be huge. That'll be huge for a lot of guys to start learning the system. And a big hire as well, and I think it gets overlooked a lot, is a top-notch strength and conditioning coach. And the years over at Tennessee, Tennessee's been at their best when they have had strong strength and conditioning programs. I really think those are key hires, and we've seen it kind of messed with and meddled with, and it's made some big differences as well. So, key strength and conditioning coach, good defensive coordinator, and just about 3 to 4 really good recruiters would make a big difference right here. But we'll see. And again, I look at the circumstances on it, who they went after, who it could have ended up with, because I'm really curious if Fulmer hadn't been let go, what kind of a plan he had. And I don't think it was going to be one we were going to be happy about. I just don't. Because I'm seeing stuff about T. Martin's upset he didn't get the job. So I don't know what Fulmer had in mind. If he was, Kevin Steele was going to be involved in some capacity there. But I think we should be happy that we're setting out on another day with Jeremy Pruitt and Philip Fulmer gone from Knoxville. I don't think good things were coming either way right there. I think this is a huge upgrade in coach. Any of the guys listed, any of the guys mentioned, whether it would have been James Franklin, Matt Campbell, PJ Fleck, Sonny Dykes, Tony Elliott, any of these guys would have been a huge upgrade over what we saw last year. So, just kind of think of that a little bit, and, let's get behind this guy. Hopefully he can get us on solid footing, get us going the right direction. The key thing is, guys, all of us are UT fans. We've all been knocked back. We're all tired of it. We're definitely a loyal fan base. We may be called crazy or what have you, and maybe we are, but this program has driven us crazy. But, hang in there, guys. Hopefully things are in the right direction. A big positive I've got, I feel that probably the first time in a while, president, chancellor, AD, coach, all in line. They're lined up in the right direction, and it seems like the boosters are in too. So I think this is probably the first time in a while that we're on solid footing as far as all those together go. So now let's hope it translates to the field, and let's hope that, a lot of this crap, trying to leak stuff, trying to throw under the bus, let's hope it's gone. Let's get back to being a program to where, every little thing doesn't get leaked out here. You're not telling of every little slap on the wrist or anything like that. But I'm ready, man. I'm in wait and see. I'm gonna be prove it, but I am more excited about this hire than I was with Pruitt, and I'm excited to see what kind of an offense he brings in. I'm excited to see an offense score some points again, and instead of being shocked when they score some points. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We had a big night again last night. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Y'all are awesome. Y'all take care. Stay safe. I will see you next week. Or I'm sorry, not next week. I will see you again at some point. But you guys take care. I'll see you later.